Welcome to Cage Talk. I'm your host, Buck, joined by Nick in the studio right now.
Hi, guys.
And our special guest today is Julie Kedzie.
Julie Kedzie.
Hey,
hello.
how are you guys? Thanks
Good,
for
how
having
are
me.
you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Thank you
glad
so
you
much
came
for
down.
coming in. Yeah.
Thanks.
I actually had to go. I offered to go pick her up to bring her down because her coach is busy, and he's getting ready to leave town. And we were riding in the car, and I didn't want to ask her too many questions. And I looked at her and I was like, "Listen, I'm not a weirdo. I just don't want to ask you too much stuff because I want to save some for the air."
I'm sitting
not
there.
a
This
weirdo.
guy hates me. He hates me. He doesn't want to talk to me.
He's just doing this for coach.
So, Julie, talk to us. You're a female mixed martial artist, clearly,
Yeah.
and that's a new thing to the sport. I mean, at least one of the newly publicized pieces of the sport. I actually watched your fight on Showtime a couple weeks ago, or
Did you like
a couple
that?
months ago. It was an amazing fight. As you
you.
know, you were in
Thank
it.
you, yeah.
One of the best. I think it was probably the most exciting fight of the night. Clearly.
Well, I was getting rocked a lot of the time, so I don't know if I was excited, but I was definitely feeling it.
You were getting rocked, but you were also hanging in there like a
Yeah.
warrior. I mean, that was
Thanks.
awesome. And it was that the first cable televised female MMA fight?
As far as I know, yeah. I wouldn't necessarily quote me on that, but I
Right.
know it was a huge deal.
It was a big deal.
A lot bigger deal than I thought of when I actually signed for the fight. I just
Right.
thought I was fighting Gina, and I was like, oh, she's going to be a great opponent. I can't wait to fight her.
Right.
And then they're like, it's showtime. And I said, well, what does that mean? And it meant a really big thing, a really historical event.
How many
So-
people were watching that night? Do you have any idea?
No idea at all. I didn't really follow the numbers. I don't really get online that often, so I don't.
Well, there were 10 in my house, so.
Yay!
And I had
Were you
6.
cheering for me? At 16, we're good guys.
So you're here in Albuquerque training with the Jackson camp. Where do you live? Where do you train out of? And where did you get your start in MMA?
I actually came from Indiana to train with Greg specifically. He invited me. We met on the Showtime show. I met him and Joey kind of walking in the hall, and I said, hey, guys, can I hang out with you? My coach isn't here yet. And they were so welcoming, so nice. Went in the sauna when Joey was cutting and, talked to them a little bit, lent him a sauna suit, and they said, oh, this girl's really nice. Let's see what her fight's like. Saw my fight, and they're like, let's ask her to join the team. I was like, yeah. So Greg and I stayed in contact, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to relocate here or not, but we kept talking, and I asked him, my coach from Indiana couldn't go to Russia with me. I'm going to be fighting in Russia in a couple weeks, and he couldn't go with me, so I text messaged Greg. I was like, hey, you got a passport? He's like, yeah. I said, you want to go to Russia? And he said, yeah, let's talk. And so I ended up
great.
coming here.
So you're relocated to Albuquerque now?
Yeah,
So you live here?
Yeah, I actually live with Greg and his wife at the moment. I'm going to be looking for a place after my next fight.
That is so cool, and you are
Yeah.
officially a team member now. That is
Officially
a
Team
full-fledged
Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, cool. So tell us a little bit about your experience being here with the Jackson team. How is the training here compared to your training in Indiana?
Well, in Indiana, I was working full-time while I was
Doing what?
training. I was a chiropractor's assistant.
Chiropractic.
So
Yeah.
what exactly does that mean?
That means I do a lot of office work and I put people at tables. I don't really know any chiropractic adjustment at all. But I wasn't certified or
I was
anything.
going to say my back's killing me. See if you can give me an adjustment real quick over
I
the
don't know.
That might work.
The nose, you'll forget about your back.
Yeah, there you
No, but I was working full time and trying to schedule my training around that. So I'd get up at like 5:30 in the morning to get my cardio, work all day, and then come home and train. And so,
Trained at home?
Oh well, my home was like 2 blocks away from my school,
Okay.
so I would train there. And I had a fantastic team with James Klingerman and the Indiana Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy out of Greenwood, Indiana. They were fantastic, so nice to me, so wonderful. But I kind of knew that I needed to, if I really wanted to make something of myself, I had to be doing this full time.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm broke as can be, student loans out the butt, nowhere to live right now, no job, and I am happier than I've ever been in my life. So.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's
Isn't
great.
that weird how that
I'm in
works?
there getting beat up every day. Like, the training here is off the hook. I
Yeah.
love it. Like,
Yeah.
we're running sprints up mountains and just stuff that, you see on television you don't expect.
Walk us
So.
through just a typical day at Jackson's. You said to me a few minutes ago before the show started you do about 2 workouts a day. So just tell us just briefly what that looks like for you here.
Well, I will ride in with Greg in the morning, and depending on if he does extra work or weightlifting, I'll try to do that with him just because I really don't like to miss out on working out. And then we do team training around noon or so, and do about 2 hours, 2.5 hours there, take a break for lunch, you know, everybody rests up, and then come back later on in the evening. Today, the team training was, we were doing takedowns in the cage, which it was, you know, me and the 185-pounders and the 205ers, so it's really
you were basically
intimidating.
dominating everybody.
Oh, yeah, totally. I was dominating by them being thrown every 2 seconds, but so nice, though. You know, it's like they won't, they're definitely going easier on me because I'm smaller and I'm female, but they're not at all like, you know, spoiling me.
Giving it
Yeah.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I mean, they're still taking me down. They're still making me work, and that I love that. So
Yeah, for sure.
How much different is it than, you know, how is your training regimen different here than it was back in Indiana?
Well, for one thing, I'll do everything Greg tells me to do. So, like, I didn't have anybody telling me what to do back in Indiana. So, but it's way different. Like, I mean, I think my cardio is just completely elevated already. Like, just hitting pads for half an hour here as opposed to hitting pads back home, I'm just like...
The 6,000 feet makes a difference.
Oh, my gosh, yeah, the elevation, it has an enormous impact on your training.
Let's talk about the Mountain of Tears real quick. Hill of Tears. Now, we have video of you running the Hill of... Is it the Hill of Tears or the Mountain of Tears?
Hill of Tears.
I guess it's the Hill of Tears because the mountain's another conversation that we need to have. Talk about the Hill of Tears a little bit.
Well, I wouldn't really say, like, my sprint, you know, you see all the guys shooting past me on their sprints, and I'm just like, but you know, it's a mind game. It's mental training more than anything else. If you can keep going and keep putting one foot in front of the other, then you're winning. One of the team members, Mike, said, you know, I figured out the secret to this. You will think of every excuse in the world not to keep going up that sprint.
Yeah.
You know, and on the way down, you're just calling yourself a pussy. I can't believe I did that. But he's like, you know, take that, be in the cage. You're not going to have those excuses in the cage. You know what I mean? It's just like, because I did the mountain. You know, I did this. I did these sprints. So, yeah, you just sprint up the mountain back and forth, back and forth.